The world lost an incredibly special man this July. Dad taught me so much, from art and history and science and music to medicine and how to work hard and how to treat everyone with equal kindness and respect. He taught me how to make sound effects when giving patients a shot, zoop, and how to embarrass your kids in public with your special signal to round up the group from far away. Woo, woo. He made me believe I could do anything. He would often tell me, I just want to look for ways to encourage others, and he truly did. I struggle to think of even one critical thing he ever said to me in my entire life. So if any of the fathers here today are wondering how this man raised 9 beautiful, intelligent, strong women, I would say one key ingredient is constant and steadfast encouragement. As many of you know, my dad was a gifted and caring physician. Many doctors have a positive impact on their patients, but a primary care doctor has a particularly unique opportunity to show compassion and support during some of the hardest times in their patients' lives, and my dad truly poured kindness into his patients for years and years. I know this because I saw him in action since I was a little girl, making rounds with him at the nursing home, going on medical mission trips together, seeing his patients in the office, and Walmart, and church, and really any time we went anywhere in Tulsa. Every time patients were so delighted to see him and expressed so much gratitude for the difference he made in their lives. I was so inspired by this that I followed in his footsteps and also became a physician. Eventually, I joined the practice he worked for. Every single day, patients and nurses and really anyone he worked with would tell me how much they loved him and stories of something kind he did for them, and a lot of times about a painting he gave them. I cherish the years we worked together, and I feel so blessed that I'm able to continue to hear those stories even after he's gone from patients I continue to see. I know his legacy will live on in the thousands of people whose lives he touched, not only in work, but in the rest of his life. And I'm so grateful and proud to call him my father. And finally, before I conclude, I need to set the record straight on one point of contention among the Krautter kids, which is the proper Paul Krautter way to say, Silver Dollar City. I love you, Dad, and I can't wait to see you again.
One of my favorite memories with my grandfather was when we went to the Van Gogh art show, and we went through a bunch of rooms with paintings, and they were all really beautiful. And another one of my favorite memories with him is when we went to Branson and we sat on the balcony, and he played the clarinet while me and my brother colored.
Hey, this is Caleb. Just wanted to share a few memories and thoughts about you, Dad. Just one funny memory that stuck out when we took our trip to the Grand Canyon. And he entered the lottery to get us down to the Thunder Lodge at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Probably pretty low odds of getting that, but somehow we won that lottery. We were able to hike all the way down, but I just remember you coming out of like the camp cabin and just like so ecstatic and excited, like hands up in the air. I was like, didn't even know how to react. Just like, so yeah. The whole trip was just so amazing, seeing the Grand Canyon, hiking all the way down into it and back up with you. So really, really special memory from teen years. Some of the things I admire about you, just physically, just incredible, just toughness and resilience, you know, from getting up in the middle of the night over and over again to go deliver a baby, to just like when, you know, going through very hard things. At the times, probably just, we didn't even realize how much, you know, you may have been enduring or dealing with. We just knew that you were there for us and you were doing what you needed to do. The thing I really admire about you is, not just being smart, but actually being very, intellectually courageous. Ability to just kind of use your own head and, think on your own feet and think independently. Had a really, significant impact on me. Tackle the world and not be afraid of going against the crowd if, that's what the moment calls for. It's just a very, special kind of courage that is over and above just being smart. Another thing that has had a big influence on just the incredible kindness and gentleness that you show people. Something I learned very early on is that you have a very firm and deep conviction in the value and the dignity of every single human being, no matter who they are, if they're, poor or rich or young or old or, low status or high status. You have kind of a vision of individual people that sees past all of that and cuts through all of that and just sees every single person as an individual precious creature of God. And that's had a profound impact on me. Anyone I meet anywhere, there's just an automatic assumption in their value and dignity. Be incredibly gentle and incredibly kind with people, and just have a very deep conviction in the value and worth of people. Love you very much, Dad. Really appreciate just all of the things that you've done for our family, and just the incredible example that you've left for all of us.
Lita just texted me.
Lisanne, get in here. So your picture's all in the selfie.
Yeah, we'll get all
our
5
faces.
of this.
I'll sing along. I love you.
A bushel and a peck. A bushel and a peck. And a hug around the neck. A hug around the neck. And a bushel and a peck.
A really sweet memory I have of my dad is this one time I got food poisoning, and I was in so much pain that I was crying and panicking, and he made me really, really burnt toast, because he said that the burnt toast would neutralize the toxins, and he made me tea, and he sat by my bed and he talked to me until I calmed down. He was a really patient, kind, and loving person. He really loved people, and he saw them the way God saw them, not the way the world saw them, and he treated them accordingly. And he had a lot of gifts, and especially if someone was maybe perceived as less lovable or as more of an outcast, he would especially try to use his gifts to help those people and love those people. And he was known for how talented and brilliant he was, but I believe what truly made him a great man was how kind he was. And I think it's rare to find someone who loves as steadfastly and loyally as he did. And I think that he truly lived his life for God, and just like many of his endeavors, he pursued it with his whole heart, and that was what made him another thing that made him great. And he impacted my life for the better because he would love me when I did not feel lovable or feel like I had a lot of worth or deserved it. And he showed me what a good man is like, and a moral and loving and godly man, and that it's possible for people to be like that.
So, hi, I'm Lydia. My dad was a really awesome dad, and one of my best memories of him is painting with him, and it was fun to paint with him. It was sometimes a little annoying because he was such a fast painter that he would do 3 paintings in the time it took me to do 1. And he was also a very encouraging person. Like when I didn't want to go back places sometimes because I did something embarrassing or something, he would encourage me not to give up and said you can't just keep running like away from things just because like you're embarrassed. You have to like still keep trying. If you keep doing that, you'll never like make progress or learn. You have to keep, so he was encouraging, and he changed my tires for me, he did my taxes for me, he changed my heartstrings for me. So now I'm gonna have to learn how to do all that stuff. So that's fine though. I could do that because I'm smart just like him. And he was very like he helped me learn how to drive and everything. He would teach us about God, and his faith was so inspiring. How much he like truly believed it was very important to him. And he was always praying for me when I was lost, and very like rejoicing when I was found and came to Christ. It took me a while to learn how to drive because driving is scary. Not just kidding, it's fun. But so he would drive me to my college classes, which was amazing of him. Yeah. And since I didn't drive, and if I wanted to go somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, I would walk. But he would come get me and make sure I got home safely because he would be protective of me. He only just prayed for me. He didn't I admire that he very, very seldom would lose his temper. Very calm amidst the storm, and didn't let other people's drama ruffle him that much.
Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Good job, Aria.
Our father, what a legacy. The man was a genius. Top in the state of Texas, decorated musician. He finished 3 degrees at Ivy League, Rice University, 2 years. Physics, chemistry, math. He decided to be a doctor because he felt God called him to. Ended up scoring in the 99th percentile, and I guess that was enough that they decided that he didn't need to have taken a biology course. He was an Army doctor, went to surgery, residency, a primary care physician, oil painter, digital artist. Truly multifaceted. He'd also admit that he was the last of his entire class of 200, behind a kid who had cerebral palsy. So, at least we can't all be good at everything. But he had the mind of a genius and the humility of a very, very normal man. Growing up, everywhere we went, he was greeted by people come up to us, and they were just so ecstatic to see him, so genuinely grateful and appreciative, and had so much joy just to see him again and be in his presence, just on the basis of his impact on their lives. And they'd always call him, "Hey, Dr. Krautter, you delivered my child. You you delivered me." And he'd just say, "Hey, don't call me doctor. Just call me Paul." One day we were driving down Riverside. I was a teenager, and he turned directly towards me while driving. Normally, right? He quoted a Bible verse. He said, "You do not know what tomorrow will bring, what your life will be. For you are like a vapor that appears for a little while, then vanishes." James 4:14. He then nailed the curb, or nearly wrecked the car in a tailspin. He pulled it together and looked at me and said, "You see? You see?" His life was anything but a vapor at all. I asked him about an investment that I'd heard, and I thought it was kind of foolish. And why would anybody even do this kind of commitment? And he explained, people invest and they commit themselves towards the things they care about. I asked him why 12 kids. He said because children are gifts and blessings from God. Well, he was certainly blessed. He lived his life to love the people around him and to heal, provide and care for everyone. came in contact with. He traveled the world. I went with him to Panama and Guatemala. He went many, many, many more places to use his gifts to glorify God and care for those in need. He spent his time in Tulsa teaching the homeless how to paint. He understood the value of instilling achievement and self-worth in his fellow man. In the depths of his darkest days, he wanted to bring others up, and he put that on his back. And he did it with no promotion. I didn't know about it the first year he did it. He lived to love. He loved out of his heart at all times and extended this advice to me. He said, if you can say anything to someone out of love, you can do no wrong. He also said it's better to do the wrong thing than to do nothing. He encouraged me to grow from every experience in life, to see God at all times. I don't think it's possible that a better example of a godly man could exist. He took pride in me when I couldn't find it in myself. He gave love to those who felt they didn't deserve it. Always urged kindness, always persisted on forgiveness. Hatred had absolutely no presence on his soul. Strength is too weak of a word. Love is what he was.
One of my favorite memories of Dad is when I was in 9th grade and I was staying up really late trying to write a paper, and I was really stressed out about it. And he was trying to help me write it, and he was just kind of making me more stressed out. And we were both just making each other more stressed out. But that's my favorite memory because it was funny, and also it was really encouraging to me that he still wanted to stay and help me even though it was hard, and he didn't give up or walk away. So that was really good. And then one of the ways that he impacted my life was when I was in college for speech therapy, and I was worrying about whether I was in the right field because I had really bad social anxiety, and it made it really hard for me to connect with people, which was a very important part of the job. But he talked to me about how he had the same problem when he was in medical school, and like some people told him that he shouldn't be a doctor, he should just go into research or something like that. But he felt like it was what God wanted him to do, and he felt like his personality, like in the way that his brain worked, actually gave him more compassion and helped him to be a better doctor. And he was like, if you feel like it's what God wants you to do, then you should do it and not care about what other people think, because you still have something to offer even though you were different. And that was really encouraging to me.
Some of my favorite memories with my dad have to do with doing art with him or watching him do art. When I was a kid, we would go to the zoo, and he would bring a whole lot of sketchbooks along and distribute them out to all of us. And we would go from one exhibit to the other, and he would be sketching all the animals that we saw. And I would try my best to do the same because I wanted to be like him. He taught me how to use acrylics and watercolors and oil paints. I remember many painting parties that he and I and the other kids would do together, and they were so much fun. I got my love for learning and my curious mind from him. My dad wanted to know about everything. You name a topic and he could tell you so much about it because he just loved to learn. And I am very much the same way, although maybe not on every single topic. I love to know why things are the way they are. I love to be able to explain it to other people as well, and I love that about myself because it's fun, first of all, but also it reminds me of him.
He was humble despite his many achievements and his great intelligence. He never really highlighted those things about himself. He would just talk about Jesus. Growing up, the way my dad treated others was so compelling to me, and he was one of the primary people God used to draw me to himself. He was gentle and kind with people who nobody else would behave that way towards. He was generous to people who would never be able to give back to him.
Practice at Chinese restaurants. I've finally perfected my chopstick technique.
I think wisdom is learning from others.
To Dad, I was Larky Doodle Noodle Doodle Doo. He even had a song for me. It went, Larky Doodle is my noodle, she's my noodle doodle day. I have no idea where that nickname or that song came from, but it was really sweet. I have so many great memories with my dad. He taught me so much about art. We had so many conversations about Jesus and faith. He's a big reason why I am a Christian today. But we really bonded over art. We talked about art. Almost every conversation we had, we would talk about art theories, artists' lives, new art YouTubers and YouTube videos that had come out. And I have some really wonderful memories of him teaching me new things about art. He pretty much taught me everything I know. Whenever I first started working as an art teacher, he was so excited that I was going to be teaching art that he gave me like a huge stack of books and was so supportive. Whenever I started college, I was originally going to be going into science and medicine, and he was all for that and everything. But when I changed after like one quarter, I changed to art as my major, and he was so supportive and encouraging and excited for me, and always thought that I would do such a wonderful job. Dad was extremely kind. Everyone that knew him, that was the main thing they took away from their interactions with him, that he was a very kind person. He was extremely forgiving, just as Jesus was. He would forgive 70 times 7 times to everyone around him. And he impacted so many people in positive ways with that. And just as Jesus was, he was extremely generous. When you think of sacrificial giving of his life for others, he did that for his patients, he did that for his children, he did that for the people on missions trips, he did that for so many people he came into contact with. He would cup his mouth like a microphone and say, "Welcome to Silver Dollar City." And I will miss that. And I love him so much.
The same idea. We're recording too. Like literally 3 of us are recording.
One memory I have of Dad is standing outside of the house, and I don't remember what led up to the conversation, but the crux of what he spoke to me about was we were looking at the house and we had some projects that we had to do around the house, and I was complaining about it because I didn't want to have to work on things. And he just looked at me and told me how grateful he was to have this house and how so many people don't get the opportunities that we might get. And even though it was hard, that we need to take advantage of those opportunities. And he said that he never imagined he'd have this life. And that attitude has kind of stuck with me as far as remembering what's important and just taking a better perspective of the things in life.
Just to talk a little bit about my dad and the things I appreciated about him. He was so supportive. I'm sure all of you that know him know how gentle he was and how kind he was. And as his kid, I think I got to reap more of the benefits of that than most people. But he was so supportive to all of his kids. To me, didn't matter really what we were pursuing. I remember once I was in undergrad and just worried about what I was going to do and what I should pick, and he just made it so clear that it didn't matter to him what I chose, as long as I felt like I was doing what God called me to, and that I was kind. It didn't matter. That was all that was important to him. It was never going to be about anything superficial. It didn't matter what you were talking to him about. He always cared about the heart behind why you were making decisions. And was just so encouraging. So supportive. I am so grateful to him for that, because I think it put a confidence in his kids that, only a dad can really do. And he did it really well. My favorite memories, I have so many favorite memories of him, but one that always makes me laugh is when we went to go see Mr. Bean's Holiday in theaters, and he thought it was so funny, and he laughed so hard that the people around us were like getting really concerned. Like, it was disrupting the peace in the theater, how hard he was laughing, how long he was laughing. It sounded like he was having an attack. I think we eventually had to leave the theater. And then always, of course, the Silver Dollar City, pulling into the parking lot for Silver Dollar City. We're here. We're at Silver Dollar City. And yeah, he was just a huge dork. And you could always be as big of a dork as you wanted, because nothing could compare to how dorky he was. And yeah, he was awesome. And I love him, and I'll miss him.
Pictures like go when the person gets to.
If we all work together, we can make something.
Dad, my favorite memories with you are when you would take us to the zoo and you would bring a camera and take tons of pictures of all the animals, and then we would go home and paint them. Also, I loved when we would make homemade pizza when I was little. You would make the dough homemade and you would throw it up, and I thought you were the coolest person ever. Going to Silver Dollar City was also the best. You would always yell, "Silver Dollar City!" And then we'd all get in the car and we would embark to Branson. Going to the Dollar Tree, because that was your mecca and you loved it there more than anything, and you'd always let us pick out little trinkets. Going on a missions trip to Gambia was amazing, and going on the study trip to Israel is something I'll never forget. Having pool parties at your house were always so fun, and I loved the way you would swim across the pool, because you hardly would move your limbs. You would just kind of float, and called that swimming. Also watching Pink Panther 2, not Pink Panther 1, Pink Panther 2, because that has the best jokes, and you would die laughing with the most high-pitched You also always would make your own kombucha,
And you would never say kombucha correctly. You always said kombucho and kombucha just never stuck. In all seriousness, what I will remember most about you is your generosity. You would give so much to people who would only take from you. And I never quite understood it. And when I asked you why, you would just quote Matthew and say, "Truly I say to you, whatever you do to the least of them, so also you do to me." I can only hope to be as fascinated with life as you were. You knew everything, about math, about science, about art, about history, and you could talk and connect to anybody. Thank you for giving me the freedom to explore being an artist and being a scientist and trying out different things. Thank you for making me a more caring and selfless person through your actions. Anytime I felt like I had failed, I would go to you and talk to you about it, and you would ask me if I did my best. I would say, yes, I did my best, and you would say, then I'm proud of you. Thank you for everything. I love you so much.
Do a video of the solution of the famous Cracker Barrel triangle puzzle. Here we go.
Okay.
Rapidly, kaboom!
Okay.
Boom. 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 Boom.
Oh, good intent. How's you doing to do it?
Ta-da!
Hi, my favorite memory with Dad is when we went to Israel and we went to a historical site, and I don't remember where it was, but it was sort of quiet and solemn, and everyone in our tour group was kind of just being quiet, and it started raining, and he pulled out his clarinet and started playing Amazing Grace, and it was so beautiful, and everyone was kind of looking around like, should we tell him to stop, or are any of the employees here gonna tell him to stop? And nobody did, and everyone just sort of listened. It was like 40 people in the tour group just randomly stopped and listened, and then he just made me carry it around in my backpack for the rest of the trip, the clarinet. One thing I really appreciate and admire about Dad is the way that he goes through life slowly and he appreciates little details of life. I think about when we would go to Philbrook Museum or Crystal Bridges Museum, and he just slowly went through each room and admired each painting and learned about its history, and he was fascinated by each one. And I think he's that way in a lot of areas of life. He's just fascinated and he wants to learn, and he wants to take his time and appreciate the history and the meaning of things, and he doesn't feel rushed even in conversations. He's okay with long silences and thoughtful silences, and his conversations have a lot of depth because he doesn't feel the need to fill the silence, and he's not rushed in his life. And that's really impacted me for the better, because I think his ability to listen to people who need his help is just really admirable, and it comes from knowing that you can slow down and just listen to the little things, and he's always been really good at that.
I'm Paul Krautter. We're looking forward to another day of God blessing each step we take.